Om. Om. Gururbrahma Gururvishnuः Gururdevo Maheshwaraः Gurursakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Akhandamandalakaram Vyaptam Yena Characharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahi Tejasvinavadhimastu Ma Vidvishavahai Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi Narayam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamiraye. As decided yesterday, we chant the whole Brahmaraji.
Yes, we'll chant all the shlokas, and then we'll do the reading of the meaning, and then we'll do the individual shlokas. Okay, you can chant the shlokas. All of us individually can also chant, keeping ourselves muted.
Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Ath Dvadashodhyayah. Bhakti Yogah. Arjuna Uvacha. Evam Satatayuktaye Bhaktastvam Paryupasate Ye Chapyaksharam Avyaktam Tesham Ke Yoga Vittamaha. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Maya Veshamano Ye Mam Nityayukta Upasate Shraddhaya Parayopetaste Me Yuktatama Mataha Ye Tvaksharam Nirdeshyam Avyaktam Paryupasate Sarvatra Gamachintyam Cha Utasthamachalam Dhruvam Sanniyamyendriyagramam Sarvatra Samabuddhayah Te prapnuvanti mameva sarvabhutahite ratah kleshodhikatarastesham avyaktasaktachetasam avyaktahi gatir dukkham dehavadbhiravapyate ye tu sarvani karmani mayi sanyasya matparah Ananyenaiva yogena mam dhyayanta upasate teshamaham samuddharta mrityu samsara sagarat bhavami nachirat partha mayyaveshita chetasam mayyeva mana adhastva mayi buddhim niveshaya Nivasishyasi mayyeva ata urdhvam na samshayah atha chittam samadhatum na shaknoshi mayi sthiram abhyasa yogena tato mami chaptum dhananjaya abhyasepya samarthosi matkarma paramo bhava Madarthamapi karmani कुर्वन् सिद्धिमवाप्स्यसि अथैतदप्यशक्तोऽसि कर्तुं मध्योगमाश्रितः सर्वकर्मफलत्यागं ततः कुरु यतात्मवान् श्रेयो हि ज्ञानमभ्यासात् ज्ञानाध्यानं विशिष्यते ध्यानात् कर्मफलत्यागः त्यागात् शान्तिरनन्तरम् अद्वेष्टा सर्वभूतानां मैत्रः करुण एव च निर्ममो निरहङ्कारः समदुःख सुखक्षमी सन्तुष्टः सततं योगी यतात्मा दृढनिश्चयः मय्यर्पितमनो बुद्धिः यो मद्भक्तः स मे प्रियः यस्मान्नो द्विजते लोको लोकान्नो द्विजते च यः हर्षामर्षभयोद्वेगैः मुक्तो यः स च मे प्रियः अनपेक्ष शुचिर्दक्ष उदासीनो गतव्यथः सर्वारम्भपरित्यागी यो मद्भक्तः स मे प्रियः यो न हृष्यति न द्वेष्टि न शोचति न काङ्क्षति शुभाशुभपरित्यागी भक्तिमान्यः स मे प्रियः समशत्रौ च मित्रे च तथा मानापमानयोः शीतोष्णसुखदुःखेषु समः सङ्गविवर्जितः तुल्यनिन्दास्तुतिर्मौनी सन्तुष्टो येन केनचित् अंकेतस्थिरमतिर्भक्तिमान् मे प्रियो नरः ये तु धर्मार्थमिदं यथोक्तं पर्युपासते श्रद्धानामत्परमा भक्तास्तेति मे प्रियाः। ॐ तत्सदिति भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्ण संवादे भक्तियोगो नाम द्वादशोऽध्यायः। अथ त्रयोदशाध्यायः क्षेत्रज्ञयोगः। अर्जुन उवाच प्रकृतिं पुरुषं चैव क्षेत्रज्ञमेव च एतद्वेदितुमिच्छामि ज्ञानं ज्ञेयं च केशव। ॐ तत्सत्। सर्वं श्रीकृष्णार्पणमस्तु। So, anyone is ready with the first shloka?
No, what we'll do from the Gita Dhyana, the compilation of all the meanings of individual shlokas, I will just read them. Maybe we can all just close our eyes and listen to the meaning, and then we'll start with the revision of shloka 1. Okay? This is just the transliteration of the shlokas as given in the Gita verses by Swamiji. Chapter 12, Bhakti Yoga. Arjuna said, in this manner, there are those devotees who constantly committed meditate upon you, and also those who seek you as one who is not subject to decline and not available for objectification. Among them, who are the greatest knowers of yoga? Shri Bhagavan said, endowed with unflinching faith, their minds committed to me, being ever united with me, those who meditate upon me are considered by me as the most exalted. This is my vision. However, those who contemplate upon that which is not subject to decline, not describable, not available for objectification, all pervasive, and not an object of thought, which abides in Maya, does not move, and is eternal, having complete mastery over the group of sense organs, those who are always equal minded and take delight in or are disposed to the welfare of all beings, gain me alone. Or having complete mastery over the group of sense organs, only those who are always equal minded and take delight in or are disposed to the welfare of all beings gain me. The affliction is greater still for those whose minds are committed to what cannot be objectified, because an end which cannot be objectified is reached with difficulty by those who are identified with the body. However, those meditators, being the ones for whom I am the ultimate end, giving up all actions unto me with a commitment in which there is indeed no other, meditating upon me, worship me. For those whose minds are absorbed in me, Partha, before long I become the liberator from the ocean of samsara fraught with death. In me alone may you place the mind. Into me may you make the intellect enter. Thereafter, there is no doubt that you will abide in me alone. If you are not able to absorb your mind steadily in me, then through the practice of yoga, may you seek to reach me, Dhananjaya. Even if you do not have the capacity for the practice of this yoga, may you become one for whom action dedicated to me is paramount. Even doing actions for my sake, you will gain success. Even if you are not able to do this, being one whose practice or commitment is dedicating all actions to me, then, being one whose mind is disciplined, give up the results of all actions to me. Knowledge is better indeed than the practice of yoga. Meditation is superior to knowledge. Renunciation of the results of action is better than meditation. Because of renunciation, there is peace immediately. The one who has no hatred for all beings, who has the disposition of a friend, who is compassionate, free from possessiveness, free from the I notion, equal in pleasant and unpleasant circumstances, and indeed one who is naturally accommodative, the one who is completely satisfied, who is always united, who has mastery over his mind, whose ascertainment is firm, whose mind and intellect are resolved in me, who is my devotee, is beloved to me. The one because of whom people do not get disturbed and who does not get disturbed by people and who is free from elation, intolerance, fear, and anxiety. He is beloved to me. The one who has no dependence is clean, able, and neutral, from whom fear has gone, who has completely given up all initiation of actions, and who is my devotee, is beloved to me. The one who does not get elated, is not hostile, does not grieve, does not desire, who has completely given up good and bad karma, who has devotion, is beloved to me. The one who is same with reference to an enemy and a friend, So too, honor and disgrace, the same with reference to cold, heat, pleasure, and pain, and free from attachment. The man who is equal to censure and praise, disciplined in speech, satisfied by whatever he gets, who has no place to call his own, whose knowledge is firm, and who has devotion, is beloved to me. However, those who follow this life that is in keeping with dharma, leading to immortality, as was told, who are endowed with Shraddha, and for whom I am the ultimate end, those devotees are exceedingly beloved to me. Om Tat Sat. Iti श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे भक्तियोगो नाम द्वादशोऽध्यायः। अथ त्रयोदशोऽध्यायः क्षेत्रक्षेत्रज्ञविभागयोगः। Arjuna said, "This I wish to know, O Keshava, what is the Prakriti and indeed the Purusha, the field and indeed the knower of the field, the means of knowledge and what is to be known?" So we will start with our revision of chapter 12. I think as per what Dr. Savita had suggested yesterday, we'll do shloka by shloka. I had taken up shloka 1 and I will just share this one. 1 second. Let me just share the screen. Bela, you have the PDF with you?
The previous one.
I can share the
Yeah,
screen.
yeah,
Don't
I
worry.
have this. I'm already sharing it. You cannot see, no? Or you can see. I'm sharing the PDF, Brahmaraji. I've shared screen, Bela. Okay, dear. Okay. So Swamiji starts the Bhakti Yoga, wherein he defines Bhakti as a dedicated action to Ishvara who is in the form of Dharma. That is Bhakti. And who is a Bhakta? One who conforms to Dharma and avoids Adharma. And looking upon Dharma as Ishvara. That is a Bhakta or a Karma Yogi. Now Arjuna's question right from the beginning was the conflict between sannyasa and duty, because he wanted to take up to arms, and that's when he became very attracted, so to say, to sannyasa, and he wanted to take up sannyasa, whereas Krishna was goading him to do his duty. So that is not just Arjuna's conflict, it is everybody's conflict between pravritti and nivritti. And Swamiji very beautifully gives the example of when the alarm goes off in the morning. Each of, people normally have this. Should I sleep a little more or should I get up? So should I get up and do my duty? That is the pravritti. And nivritti, in a worldly manner, nivritti here is to just go back to sleep and do nothing. So that is everybody's conflict, actually. It is not just Arjuna's conflict. Whereas Arjuna was committed to Shreyas. He tells Krishna, he says, Shishyasteham Shadimam Twam Prapannam. So I've become, please tell me what is Shreyas for me and how can I get it? And then in the third chapter, he asks, which is better, jnana or karma? And Bhagwan gives the two lifestyles. And he tells him both sannyasa and karma yoga are for liberation, are for jnana alone. And there is no choice. Sannyasa, to become a sannyasi is not a choice. It's not a choice whether you decide to become a sannyasi or remain a karma yogi. As you mature, a sannyasi necessarily has to be a karma yogi first. And when he matures enough to become a sannyasi, that naturally happens. So it is only it is the example given by Swamiji was, if a person is 15 years old and it is like him asking, oh, next year will I become 16 or will I become 25? So it is not something that you supersede and go. It has to become a gradual process. So sannyasa is actually maturity. Now in chapter 12, Arjuna continues to reel in the same conflict. Only thing is he's wording it differently. Here he asks the first shloka, who is nearer to moksha? The one who is pursuing Nirguna Brahma Upasana or the one who's doing Saguna Brahma Upasana? And what Shankara says, Shankara and Swamiji both say, is that you cannot compare jnanis to karma yogis. Because a jnani is the one who is already he's already recognized himself as Brahma. So there is no, you cannot compare a jnani to a karma yogi. Whereas Arjuna's question was, who is better, this karma yogi who practices Nirguna Brahma Upasana or the karma yogi who practices Saguna Brahma Upasana? So here his doubt was between Upasana versus karma. Upasana is a mental meditation. It's a mental activity, whereas karma is like you do rituals. For example, Agnihotra, which requires the performance of some physical ritual. Now, what is Upasana? Saguna Brahma Vishaya Manasa Vyapara. That is Saguna Brahma Upasana. So Swamiji again further classifies that there are two types of karma yogis. One that is performing, who is following Saguna Brahma Upasana, and the other who's following Nirguna Brahma Upasana. So Arjuna's doubt here is, who is better? Who is nearer to moksha? Is what his question is. And what Swamiji says and what Bhagavan says is, the sannyasi is already, it's like he's already reached the highest level of education. You cannot compare him to someone who's still in the middle school or high school. So he says, leave them. Tavat tishtantu. Let the sannyasi be. This is not a comparison between the sannyasi and the karma yogi. The sannyasi has already reached that, has already attained, and he is me. So basically, it is the same question. The concept is the same. He's only wording it differently each time. Ultimately, in the 18th chapter, finally, with Bhagwan describing and answering each of his questions, finally Arjuna says, Nashto mohaha smritir labdha karishye vachanam tava. Till then, very patiently, Krishna goes on explaining to Arjuna the differences and explains to him how they are not different, how you cannot compare these two, and how he as a Kshatriya has to do his duty. And karma is threefold. It is both mental, oral, and physical. Very important concept to understand here in the Bhakti Yoga is that Bhakti, there are no four paths. There are no four paths. Normally, people consider that there are four paths to liberation: Jnana, Bhakti, Karma, and Hatha Yoga. They think there are four types of yogas or four means, whereas there are only two means. Jnana alone is the means. There are two lifestyles pursuing jnana. One is sannyasa, the other is karma yoga. So this we have to understand very carefully, because bhakti is only as defined by Swamiji in the beginning. It is any dedicated action to Ishvara who is in the form of dharma. So this can be in the form of mental, oral, or physical. So mental activity becomes upasana, oral becomes any of the rituals that we do, any japa, all of that becomes chanting mantras. And physical is, of course, doing some ritual like a homa, agnihotra, etc. So all this comes under karma yoga. So bhakti is therefore included in karma yoga. So, and if you're invoking Ishvara through any one of them, it is karma yoga. There is no separate bhakti yoga. Because this confusion is so rampant, it's a common misconception that there are four yogas: jnana, karma, bhakti, and hatha yoga. So that much we have to, that clarity we need to get here through this. So I will ask Sumaji to just go ahead with the second shloka. And if any of you is ready with the third and the other shlokas, please, you can go forward.
Yeah. Thank you, Brahmaraji.
I will share the second shlokas.
Brahmaraji, if you wish, I can also share the screen. Let
Yeah.
me know.
Yeah, no problem.
Shri Bhagavanuvacha Maya Veshyamano Yemam Nityayukta Upasate Shraddhaya Parayopetas Te Me Yukta Tama Mataha. So in reply to Arjuna's question, Bhagavan Shri Krishna says that the one who fixes his mind with utmost shraddha on my personal form and who is always engaged in worshipping me, is always united with me, and they meditate upon me, they are considered to be the exalted ones, and they are close to moksha. This is my vision. This is Bhagavan says. So here I picked up a few from the PDF. I picked up a few pointers that Bhagavan is referring to the Nirguna, the sannyasis, the Nirguna Brahma Upasakas. And he says that these people, they, with unflinching devotion, they commit their mind to worshipping Parameshwara. So what is this unflinching devotion? Is to the Shruti, the Shruti Vakyas. So total devotion, total Shraddha to that. And to who is Parameshwara? The one who is all-knowing, who has no ignorance, and whose vision is not covered by kleshas, that is timira drishti, he says. Timira drishti is one whose vision is not clouded by kleshas. So we have those 5 types of kleshas, no? Avidya, ignorance; asmita, attachment to ego; raga, excessive desires. Dvesha is aversions, cravings and aversions. And the fifth klesha is abhinivesha, attached to fear. So Ishvara is one who has no ajnana, no ignorance, and whose vision is not covered by these kleshas. And to such Ishvara, they are totally committed and their mind is united. They understand all that avyaktam, aksharam, and what is that third one? Avyaktam, aksharam, and avidesham, I think, the one who cannot be described. So they already know that, they understand that, and they live that. And they are free from klesha. So this is the description of the sannyasis, the Nirguna Brahma Upasakas. So they are dear to me and they are close to moksha. Bhagavan Krishna says this, yet he does not want Arjuna to go on that path because he wants Arjuna to complete his karma. So he says, though worshipping, though those who do the avyaktam, aksharam, Brahma, that worship, though they are not different from me, he does not want Arjuna to emulate them. So therefore he tells Krishna tells Arjuna that he presents the karma yoga as the one very dear to him, the karma yogis. Who are the karma yogis? They are the ones who do all their actions with Bhagwan in their mind, the Saguna Brahma Upasakas. So he says they are very dear to me. Krishna tells that. So he is in a very skillful way, Krishna tells Arjuna that those who do karma yoga with total dedication to me, with keeping my form in their mind, they are very dear to me. So the example he gives is this, I repeat what Brahmaraji said, that this year you're 15 and next year you ask, are you going to be 15 or 25? So Arjuna is in that state. He's not yet evolved to the state of, he's not yet got the maturity of a Nirguna Brahma Upasaka. So he needs to go through this karma yoga, the Saguna Brahma meditation upon the Saguna Brahma of the Lord and complete his karma. So Krishna tells Arjuna that these karma yogis are very dear to me. So that leaves Arjuna no choice but to listen to the Lord's will. That is verse 2.
Thank you so much, Sumaji. There's just one little clarification here from what Swamiji has mentioned in yoga in Shloka 1. I just want to go back to that. So the question here is not difference between sannyasis and karma yogis. I'll just go back to Arjuna's question. So he says that in this manner, I'm reading from verse 1. There are those devotees who constantly committed meditate upon you, and also those who seek you as one who is not subject to decline and not available for objectification. Among them, who are the greatest knowers of yoga? So here, Arjuna wants to know who is superior, a karma yogi who is doing upasana or a jnani. That is Arjuna's doubt, whereas the karma yogi is doing meditation upon Vishwarupa and the sannyasi is contemplating on Akshara Parabrahma. One pursues Saguna Brahma and the other Nirguna Brahma. Which is better? But somewhere down the line, Swamiji mentions that the question think, let me just say that. Yeah. Defining Bhakta, Shankara says, Ananya Sharana, those for whom there is no other refuge. Only the others, the Artharthis, use Bhagwan to assist them in their accomplishments. So this Sharana refuge is in money, power, and so on, and not in Ishvara. But those who are desirous of liberation, who are Bhaktas, find their refuge only in Ishvara. Gaining him is moksha for them. Besides doing karma, they meditate paryupasate upon Bhagavan as one who is everything, as was shown in the Vishwarupa Darshana. What I did not get understood, the little clarification I thought we need here is that somewhere Swamiji says it is not it is only two types of karma yogis, one who is pursuing Saguna Brahma Upasana and the other is Nirguna Brahma Upasana. Let me just come to that paragraph. So I'll just read this part. Throughout the Gita, Brahman is described as Akshara, that which is not subject to decline. Na ksharati iti aksharam, and avyakta, that which is free from all upadhis, because it has no attributes. But earlier in the 10th and 11th chapters, it was described as having attributes, Saguna Brahma. Do we have two Brahmans? No, we have only one Brahman whose Swarupa is Nirguna, free from everything, pure consciousness. It becomes Saguna because of the Upadhi of Maya. Saguna Brahma has attributes. Nirguna Brahma does not have. This is the difference. And avyakta can mean that which is not manifest or that which is not available as an object. What is unmanifest can be the cause, Maya. The Karana Maya is unmanifest and therefore avyakta. But here Shankara gives the meaning of avyakta as that which cannot be objectified. Akarana gochara. An object of the senses or mind, the instruments of knowing, is called Karana gochara. What is not an object of the instruments of knowing is Akarana gochara. That is not to say it cannot be known. It is just not an object of the instruments of knowing. An object is something other than yourself, which you come to know through various means of knowledge. But this is you, and therefore not an object. Anything not available for objectification is avyakta. Shankara makes a note about the origin of the word. The word vyakta has the meaning of that which is manifest. It is derived from the root anj, that is V plus anj is vyanj, which has the meaning of to manifest, to be available for objectification. Therefore, anything that is manifest and is available for objectification is called vyakta. And anything that is not available for objectification is called avyakta. Atma is not an object of anything. It is always the subject. Therefore, it is said to be avyakta. Avyakta does not mean it is unknown, only that it is not an object. It is always the Chaitanya Swarupa, the subject. The question is, between these karma yogis who are seeking Nirguna Brahma and the karma yogis doing their karmas with Ishwararpana Buddhi and meditating upon Saguna Brahma, who is better? In fact, the superlative affix tama is used. Who are the best? What is the meaning of best here? What Arjuna wants to know is who are nearer to moksha. So here this particular paragraph says, so this question that Arjuna has asked, who is better, who is closer to you or who is nearer to you, is between the karma yogis who are seeking Nirguna Brahma, whereas versus the karma yogis who are seeking, who are pursuing Saguna Brahma Upasana. So here the difference is not between sannyasas and karma yogis, which is why they say, the next para says, the jnani is not to be compared to the karma yogi. The Gita looks upon the sannyasi as a jnani because he is committed only to jnana. And Krishna has said that jnani is himself. Jnani tu atmaiva me matam. A comparison between him and the karma yogi is not valid. Krishna is going to say the karma yogis, those who meditate upon Saguna Brahma, are better off. This is because in Arjuna's context, he wants Arjuna to do his duty. So if Arjuna goes off to do Nirguna Brahma Upasana, the one that cannot be objectified, the one cannot be described, the indeclinable aspect of Atma, then he is not going to be doing his duty. Whereas those karma yogis who pursue Saguna Brahma Upasana, they look at the world of objects and they look at the manifestation of Brahma in different forms and do their duty with that Ishwararpana Buddhi. So introducing the next verse, Shankara has to say, those, however, who are contemplating upon Akshara Brahma and who therefore have a clear vision of Brahman and are free from the three types of desires, are to be left alone. They are already sannyasis. So let us not talk about them here because, as Bhagavan has said, they are myself. There is no comparison between them and the karma yogis at all. It is legitimate to compare those karma yogis who are doing upasana with those who are not. That is kevala karma yogis. So karma is duty or daily worship. Upasana is meditation. Though upasana is also worship, it is mental worship. So we consider it separately. The karma yogi has Ishwararpana buddhi and recognizes Ishvara as the karma phaladata and the giver of the fruits of actions, karma dhyaksha, the one who presides over the law of karma. Recognizing Ishvara, he does his karma, but whether it is oral or physical, it is not meditation. When the action is purely mental with Saguna Brahma as the object, it becomes meditation. If it were just mental activity, then worry also would be meditation. In order to distinguish upasana from karma, it is defined as Saguna Brahma Vishaya Manasa Vyapar. Activity is common to both. In performing Agnihotra, there is Saguna Brahma Vishaya Vyapara. The difference is, in meditation, it is purely a Manasa Vyapara. In a ritual, it is not. In a ritual, it is only Saguna Brahma Vishaya Vyapara. Whereas in Upasana, it is or meditation, it is a Manasa Vyapara. Therefore, whenever you see the word Upasana or sometimes Dhyana, it means meditation. Those who are karma yogis and combine their daily karmas with meditation on Ishvara will be said here as yuktatmas. The sannyasis are not available for such comparison. Suppose someone wants to get a degree. You cannot say those who have gained the degree are superior. You leave them out of any comparison altogether. It is the same with the sannyasi. He is as good as Akshara Brahma, so the question of superiority does not arise. That is the end you want to be. That is why Shankara says, Tavat Tishtantu, leave them alone. Bhagwan will talk about them later. Now he talks about the two types of karma yogis in the next verse, which is what he says, Maya Veshya Manoyemam Nitya Yukta Upasate Shraddhaya Parayopeta Teme Yuktata Mamata. So here from what I understood is that there are only the two types of karma yogis are being described here. It is not the difference between sannyasa or sannyasis and karma yogis. The two types of karma yogis, one that is pursuing Saguna Brahma Upasana, and the other who's pursuing Nirguna Brahma Upasana. Maybe that, if anybody else can also give their input in this, because that is what I understood, is that
I also had this confusion, seeking Nirguna Brahma. But if you consider people, the Karma Yogi who are seeking Nirguna Brahma along with their karma duty, so aren't they going into sannyasis? No. Nirguna is like you are studying the Shastra, doing Manana, Nitidhyasnam, Shravan, everything. So these are like, and other Karam Yogis that you are doing your work with that Ishvara Arpana Buddhi and meditating upon Saguna. So it is like one person who is only reading the Shastra and following and meditating upon that. That is the Akshara Brahma, that is the Atma Swarupa. And the second is that he's doing his work with Ishvara Arpana Buddhi, but he is meditating upon the Saguna Brahma. These are the two types of Karmi Yogi. But one following the Nirguna, isn't he going towards sannyas, like that?
I too understand it that way.
Yeah,
That,
so
the
he's
one who
following
follows a
that
Nirguna,
though he hasn't achieved, but he is on his path, evolving rather. On this
But
path.
he is still doing the karma, right? Sannyasi,
he is doing it.
whereby sannyasi is renounced all the karmas and rituals. He's not doing all of that. But the karma yogi is still doing the karmas with the Ishvara Arpada Buddhi. But he's still doing his upasana, that is mental meditation on Ishvara. I felt that could be the difference.
Or I don't know whether this is what it is. Among the sannyasis also, there are three types of sannyasis that we learned, right? That is Apat sannyasa, Vividisha sannyasa, and Vidvat sannyasa.
Vivarta sannyasa.
Vidvat sannyasa, who have already reached, who have already recognized, liberated. Whereas Vividisha are those who are still, their sannyasis, yes, they have given up their Nitya Naimitika karmas. They are only pursuing knowledge, but they still have not really reached there. They've not recognized Ishvara yet. They're still in the process. They're doing a lot of Nididhyasana and Upasana and all. So from my, maybe what Swamiji is alluring you here as the Karma Yogis who are doing Nirguna Brahma Upasana, maybe are those Vividisha Sannyasis. Whereas Karma Yogis who are following Saguna Brahma Upasana are the Karma Yogis that we understand from what we understood of chapter 3, is those people who follow karma as a dharma, recognizing Ishvara, recognizing that Ishvara is the karma dhyaksha and the karma phaladata, and they do what is to be done, pursuing knowledge, and take whatever results come as Ishvara Arpana, as Ishvara Prasada. So that is that set of karma yogis who are pursuing Saguna Brahma Upasana. Whereas the karma yogis that Swamiji has defined here as those following Nirguna Brahma Upasana, maybe are those Vidvats and Vividisha Sannyasis. I'm not sure. There's a little bit of clarity required here. Because here he clearly says, do not compare the sannyasi. Sannyasi to jnani, atmaiva me matam. So that is the Vidvat Sannyasa who is already recognized himself. Maybe we can
Bhagwan
get
also says those who have no interest in the scriptures or in worshipping God, leave them alone. He tells that also. This end also you leave alone, that end also you leave alone. The one who have already recognized, you leave them alone and they are not available for comparison. And the ones who are not yet come on any spiritual path and who are not even interested, you leave them alone also. He says that also in one of the chapters, isn't it?
so, and this
Very
example is quite okay. I think that is a matter for just nomenclature, but let's get the gist of it. The gist of it is with respect to Arjuna's situation, Bhagavan says the one who's doing Saguna Brahma Upasana is much better than the one who's doing Nirguna Brahma Upasana. Why? Because he gives the example of this 10-year-old. Because here he says those who worship Avyaktam Aksharam Brahma are not different from him. So he does not want Arjuna to emulate them. Therefore, he presents these karma yogis as the ones who are near him because he wants Arjuna to follow their example, knowing it is good for him. The example is 10-year-old asks which of the two books he should read, Shakespeare's original plays or stories from Shakespeare written for children. You will recommend the children's book because it is suitable for the child. He will understand it and learn something from it. That is the point here. The very fact that Arjuna asks which is better indicates that he needs to follow karma yoga because he's still in that kindergarten stage. He's still a child in this field of Shreyas. So that is better for him. So Bhagavan says karma yogis who are doing upasana are yuktatmas.
And later on, Bhagwan also says people who are not yet mentally mature but still go on to this Nirguna Brahma Upasana, their path is fraught with fear.
Here.
Because
Which
they have
is
not done that abhinivesha, that cleansing of the fear, they have not done through their karma. So, in this, at this stage, for Arjuna, it is Karma Yoga, Saguna Brahma Karma Yoga. And then he also gives those options, no? Do all your actions as an offering to me. Or if you can't do that, give all the results of your action. You don't.
Alternatives. He says knowledge is superior to meditation and meditation is superior to, and goes on giving those alternatives.
Yeah, and even among the actions, he says, he gives a lot of, with so much compassion, he gives. First, he says, you do all the action as if you're doing it for me. Surrender all your actions to me and do that. If you can't do that, surrender all the fruits of your actions to me. Like that, he goes on coaxing Arjuna to see where he is. And ultimately tells him, do whatever you want. You can ask this question to Nanaji about this.
Put it down. I've put it down as a question there.
Yeah.
But reading the third verse again, this Arjuna's question was there, which he is again asking, which is better, doing karma yoga and meditating upon saguna for sake of moksha, or sannyasis committed to the pursuit of nirguna parabrahma, who is nearer to moksha. Like in third
verse, Dr. Savita?
No, I started from the beginning, and I could complete only the third verse. That is the last part. The Kutastha was left. So I
Yeah,
didn't
whatever
complete.
you have read, you want to summarize third verse 3 before we go to the PDF?
Second verse, Somaji described, if anyone wants to discuss that. Second verse. It was with that unflinching faith, mind committed to me.
Here, the thing is the kleshas. So Bhagwan is someone, Ishvara is someone who is devoid or free from all the kleshas. And what are the kleshas? Avidya, Asmita, Raga, Dvesha, and Abhinivesha. Avidya is ignorance, Asmita is egoism or my I-ness, Raga like, Dvesha is dislike, and Abhinivesha is attachment.
To fear, not just attachment, but to fears.
And Bhagwan is someone who is free from Timira Drishti. Timira Drishti is not blindness. It is a vision that is obscured. Like you have a cataract. As an example, Swamiji mentioned. Timira Drishti is vision that is obscured because of cataract. Whereas Bhagwan is one who is free from kleshas, one who is Sarvajna, one who is the Lord of all the yogis. And he is Vimukta Ragadi Klesha Timira Drishti. What lovely words we have in Sanskrit. Because unlike blindness, Timira Drishti can be corrected by removing the cataract. Bhagavan is described here as the one who does not have Timira Drishti. Which also implies, gives us a clue that when we remove that avidya, we remove those kleshas, then we are none other than Bhagavan. We are none other than Ishvara. He talks of Shraddha here. Parashraddha, utmost Shraddha. Shraddha is what? Commitment to Shruti. Whether they understand it or not, they give credence to the Shruti. They know that they have to understand what it says. This provisional acceptance of Shruti's veracity is Shraddha. What kind of Shraddha? Para here means unflinching. Because of this, they can do their karma properly, even though they may sometimes not fully understand. These are definitely considered by me to be the most exalted. Yuktatama, yuktama me mataha. Yuktatamaha me mataha. This is my vision. They are near moksha.
So these are the sannyasis who are not yet reached that state. They are the Nirguna Upasakas. They have not yet reached that exalted state, but they are progressing on that path.
This is Karma Yoga. He's talking of Karma Yogis in this paragraph. So he says they are Karma Yogis who have utmost Shraddha, who do whatever is required to
The
do.
Shruti says.
Yeah, whatever the Shruti says, they believe. They give credence. Shraddha is pending inquiry. Belief pending inquiry is Shraddha. Guru Vedanta Vakyadishu Vishwasaha Shraddha is what we learned as definition of Shraddha in Tattva Bodh. So whether they understand it fully or not, they have that full Shraddha in the words of the Shruti. of the Shastra. Yeah, so should we go to verse 3? You want to take up anything else there, Dr. Savita?
No, it's fine. I'll just, how much I have read,
Yeah,
I'll just
no problem.
say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ye tvaksharamanirdesham avyaktam paryupasate sarvatra gamachintyam cha kutastha achalam dhruvam. Basically, in this verse, Bhagwan is describing the qualities of Brahman. That Lord Krishna, he says that all people, all like these words, akshara, avyakta, anirdeshyam. Ye tvaksharama. So these words, they are aksharam means which is that which is not subject to decline. Then avyakta is that is not available for objectification. And anirdeshyam is that is anirdesham is
Not
which is
describable.
not describable. Yeah. So he is talking of these terms in the first line, and he's because Arjuna's question was that which is better, doing karma yoga with and meditating upon saguna for sake of moksha is better, or the sannyasi who is pursuing the nirguna brahma. So Bhagwan is describing that these sannyasi, they have this knowledge. There is no comparison for sannyasi, because he already has these qualities, and he is acknowledging all these qualities of Bhagwan and taking his swarupa as him. So in example of this, like in Swamiji has given that of the river, if we compare that Ganga and Yamuna, so which is the most sacred? So the answer people gave was Ganga, but the answer was that Ganga is not to be compared because it is not a river, it is Jnana. So in this way, the Karma Yogi and Sannyasi, they have no comparison. Then he talks about the Nastika also, like the devotees, how many type of people are doing the karma. Some are Nastikas, some are Astikas. Nastikas, you have again two type, ethical and unethical. Ethical, I think, are Nastikas are those who do their take their duty as like a karma yogi, but they don't have any shraddha in Ishvara. And unethical, they haven't described, I think, because unethical, he doesn't have the sense of duty also, what I interpreted. They are not on any path. Whereas astikas are devotees, and devotees again described by into three types. The Artha Bhaktas who pray in distress, and the second one, Artharthi Bhaktas who pray in distress, but they want to accomplish something, to gain some motive. They pray. That is Artharthis. And the third is the Karma Yogis who want moksha, and they live a life of Karma Yogi also, and do that meditation or upasana to achieve moksha. And besides this, he talks about the Brahman, about the anirdesha. That is, anirdesha is that it is not to be described, because it is what Swamiji mentioned, that in reality it is ashabd gochara. That is, it is not shabd vachya, rather it is shabd lakshya. Shabd vachya meaning that it has a direct meaning of that word, but it is not so. Brahman is it is in Vivek Chudamani also they have mentioned that this line, Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tam Agocharam. That which is not available for any kind of objectification, yet revealed by all the Upanishads. So that is the Siddhanta, and which is Tattvam Asi. So it cannot be objectified. And just like like the sweetness of the sugar, you cannot describe the sweetness of the sugar. It is that taste, it is undescribable, but that is the perceptual experiential knowledge which you have when you experience that sweetness. But for Brahman, it is not so. It cannot be objectified by any sense or by any mind. It is because it's not an object of experience, and it is the swarupa of oneself. So it is all the experiences and all this is already present. It is only that ignorance is there, because of which one is not able to recognize it. And then he talks about that Nirguna Brahma Upasana. He describes what is Upasana. Upasana means to, upa means to near, and then asana is meaning sitting. So it is Upasana is sitting near, and there's an object of meditation always, that is Upasaya. And for a sannyasi, the object of meditation is that Akshara Brahma. So if contemplation upon that of sannyasi Aham Brahmasmi is that they sit with that mind absorbed in that Param Brahma, and they sit with the mind absorbed in Param Brahma. The implied meaning of Satya, implied meaning of Jnana, implied meaning of Ananta. It is that meditation upon oneself as Akshara Brahma, which is Nirdeshya and also Avyakta. So these are all the negations which is he's talking about. Like when you put a before some word, it means that you are negating, and that is the quality of that Akshara Brahma. It cannot be objectified, it cannot be described. It is all pervasive, and for a sannyasi, his mind always dwells upon that Parabrahma by that vichara. He's always thinking of that Tat Chintanam, always thinking, talking about it, sharing whatever he knows with others. And this is called that Brahm Abhyasa. And because of this kind of commitment to one thing, it is said in the second line, it is said Paryupasate. Sorry, the last word, Paryupasate. Yet Paksharama Nirdesham Avyaktam Paryupasate. So taking these qualities, accepting these qualities of Brahman, Avyakta Aksharam Nirdeshyam, he commits to these, and he's following this and meditating upon this. So he's called Paryupasati. Pari word is prefix to that upasate. Upasate we already know. So pari is that he's totally committed to it. Because generally we talk the word upasana is used generally for the Saguna Brahma. But here pari is added to show that for a sannyasi, he is totally committed to his upasana, talking always about Lord. And he also talks about that these are the lakshanas of Brahman, and it is Sarvatra Gama Chintyam cha, the second line, Sarvatra Gama Chintyam cha. Sarvatra Gama means it goes everywhere. It is all pervasive, like space. Everything in creation is pervaded by space, but it does not pervade the consciousness. Consciousness, however, pervades the space. So it is like he's in that Chaitanya Atma, and he doesn't consider himself separate from that Brahman. Achintyam, and it is Achintyam, that is Sarvatra Gama. Then Achintyam is that it is not an object of thought also. Because a thought cannot objectify Brahman. And being that it is the Swarupa of the thought that the Brahman is Achintyam, and it is not an object of any thought. Because whatever like thought is by the mind, and of course with the help of the sense organs. So Shankara says what is accessible by the sense organs can be thought of by the mind, because Aksharam Brahma is the opposite of that. It cannot be thought of. It is not only not available as an object of sense perception, even to a Sakshi, the witness, it is not accessible. And why is not it is accessible? Because the witness is Brahman. Anything that is known is an object of thought. So no knowledge is possible without a thought objectifying the object in order to know it. I think I read till I revised it right up to here only. This last part, Kutastha was, and this Brahma is Achintya, and how is one to know Brahman? This was left. So you can, any one of you can, or if we can just go through it.
Is it from here, Dr. Savita?
Yeah, from here. If Brahman is Achintya, how is one to know Brahman? Right.
So if Brahman is Achintya, how is one to know Brahman? The argument is that anything that is known is an object of thought because of the fact that it is known, like a pot. A pot is known and it is an object of thought. True. The extension is that Brahman has to be known and therefore has to become an object of thought. Brahman does have to be known. Otherwise, why study Shastra? Why undertake any spiritual pursuit if it cannot be known? If knowledge of Brahman liberates, but Brahman cannot be known, how can I pursue that knowledge? It is like knowing that a rabbit's horn will cure cancer. It may, but I cannot start searching for a rabbit's horn when I know there is no such thing. Similarly, if knowledge of Brahman is going to liberate me from samsara, but Brahman is not available for knowledge because it is achintya, how can I pursue it? It is important to understand that achintya means not an object of a thought, but it is yourself, the very swarupa of the thought. Being yourself, it is self-evident. All that is needed is to remove the erroneous notions you have about yourself. Atma is not an object to be seen, but the subject mistaken for something else. That mistake has to be corrected. There is a particular vritti which can give rise to the knowledge. I am Brahman. It assumes the very form of Atma, so that there is no subject-object relationship. In every piece of knowledge, there is a subject-object division, a knower and an object known. But here, there is no such division. The subject is involved in this knowledge and not as an object. At the same time, the vritti is necessary for only that can destroy ignorance. It cannot be destroyed by consciousness. If it could, I would have no ignorance. I will just repeat this last part.
And one more thing, can you please explain the vritti?
Yeah. Vritti is a thought, is like aham brahmasmi is a vritti. So that is the vritti. It is important to understand that achintya means not an object of a thought, but is yourself, the very swarupa of the thought. Being yourself, it is self-evident. All that is needed is to remove the erroneous notions that you have about yourself. Atma is not an object to be seen, but the subject mistaken for something else. That mistake has to be corrected. There is a particular vritti which can give rise to the knowledge, I am Brahman. It assumes the very form of Atma, so that there is no subject-object relationship. This vritti that they're talking about is this Brahma Brahmabhyasa vritti. Not Brahmabhyasa, but Brahma vritti, like this Aham Brahmasmi. You go on saying that Aham Brahmasmi and you go on meditating upon that. So that ultimately will also drop. Even that vritti dissolves and will leave you with that recognition that you are nothing but the consciousness. You are that the misconception about who you are will dissolve. It assumes the very form of Atma so that there is no subject-object relationship. In every piece of knowledge, there is a subject-object division, a knower and an object known. But here, there is no such division. The subject is involved in this knowledge and not as an object. At the same time, the vritti is necessary for only that can destroy ignorance. So, and therefore, for this vritti, we need to go to the Shastra. The pramana is like, it is only through Shabda pramana that we can reach this place. Therefore, we go to Shastra. It cannot be destroyed by consciousness. If it could, I would have no ignorance. This is a very important thing to understand. Swarupa Chaitanyam na ajnana virodhi. Consciousness, which is the nature of Atma, is not opposed to ignorance, neither self-ignorance nor any other ignorance. If you are ignorant of the Chinese language, you are conscious of it, but that consciousness does not affect the ignorance. That is why your self-ignorance can continue indefinitely. What is opposed to ignorance is vritti jnana, knowledge that takes place in the form of a vritti. I will repeat this one. This is a very important thing to understand. Swarupa Chaitanyam na ajnana virodhi. Consciousness, which is the nature of Atma, is not opposed to ignorance. Neither self-ignorance nor any other ignorance. If you are ignorant of the Chinese language, you are conscious of it. But that consciousness does not affect the ignorance. That is why your self-ignorance can continue indefinitely. Like for instance, in this example, you're ignorant of the Chinese language. You're conscious that you're ignorant of it. But just being conscious of that you're ignorant is not going to make you knowledgeable. How would you learn? How would you get rid of that ignorance of Chinese language? Is by learning, reading, going to someone who can teach you Chinese. So that vritti jnana is required. Therefore, what is opposed to ignorance is vritti jnana, knowledge that takes place in the form of a vritti. Here the example is the Chinese language, but when you extrapolate it to Atma, which is why Swamiji mentions here that the self-ignorance can continue indefinitely unless we bring in this vritti jnana in the form of the vritti, which is again the Shastra Praman. It is said, Manasa eva anudrashtavyam. Only by the mind is it to be known. At the same time, Manasa achintyam. It cannot be thought of by the mind. We have two statements which together amount to saying it has to be known by the mind, even though it is not accessible by the mind. What does it mean? It has to be known by the mind alone, but no mind can ever know it. In fact, it is true and it is explainable. Such statements are not meant to paralyze the reasoning like a Zen koan. Zen koan means a koan is a riddle in the form of a paradox used in Zen Buddhism as an aid to meditation and a means of gaining intuitive knowledge. So here, such statements are not meant to paralyze the reasoning like a Zen koan, but to reveal the truth. Being the subject, it is not an object of your thought. Yet, to know it, the mind must have a vritti, which destroys ignorance with reference to Brahman. It does not have to reveal it because every thought is revealed by that Brahman. Yeah, it's so profound. It is something that cannot be objectified, but then you have to use a vritti in order to realize it. So it cannot be known by the mind, but it is only through the mind that you can realize it. The mind has the capacity to reveal an object, and its presence is necessary to know an object. Without it, there are two possibilities. Either you would see everything at the same time or nothing at all. But you do always see some given thing. Therefore, you require a mind which has vyanjakatva, the capacity to reveal an object. It has to undergo a particular change to objectify a given object. Let me read this one more time. The mind has the capacity to reveal an object, and its presence is necessary to know an object. Without it, there are two possibilities. Either you would see everything at the same time or nothing at all. But you do always see some given thing. Therefore, you require a mind which has vyanjakatva, the capacity to reveal an object. It has to undergo a particular change to objectify a given object. With reference to Atma, this is not the case, because Atma is the one whose consciousness is enjoyed by the mind. For Atma to be revealed, you do not require a means of knowledge to give rise to a thought that reveals it. The thought is seen because of Atma. You are always self-evident, the only one whose existence does not require proof. If the self also requires proof, to whom is the proof to be given? There is no other self. Atma is the only thing in this creation which is self-evident. Every other thing has to become evident to the self for its existence to be proved. Because it is self-evident, it does not need to be illumined. It is the illuminator. All that is required is to remove the ignorance of the self-evident self-being Brahman, Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam Brahma. The removal of ignorance occurs in the mind, and therefore it is proper to say that it has to be known by the mind. At the same time, it is not an object of the mind. Paradoxes like these are revealing. They are not meant to stun your reasoning. It's very profound, isn't it?
Yeah, my mind got exhausted yesterday and it wasn't accepting all this. So I left it.
It is
at
like
that
in the
moment.
deep sleep, you don't have a mind. Therefore, you cannot see anything. You cannot objectify anything. But in that deep sleep, that you're able to understand that you went through that deep sleep, there is something else that is there, that is self-evident, that isness, that I-ness that is there. Who is it that is able to say, I had a deep sleep? That is the consciousness. So that consciousness is self-evident. But in order to remove the so-called misconception of who I am, you require this vritti. And that vritti also is there because of the Atma. So you need the vritti to realize the Atma. Therefore, although you cannot objectify the Atma in the mind, you need the mind to realize it. That is the paradox here.
Brahmaraji, Hari Om,
Yeah.
could you please explain the line that it is not opposed to Ajnanam, one thing, and since it is saying that it is a kind of vritti, and the example of Chinese language or any language, you require some efforts, but Atmagyan is just removing the ignorance, it is effortless, right?
Effortless, but that removal of ignorance requires effort. No?
Okay.
See, all along we have lived our life saying, I am the body. That is why if the body is hurt, I am hurt. So we identify ourselves with the body, mind, senses, ego, all of that. Which is why Swamiji says, self-ignorance can continue indefinitely. We can continue to live like this for lifetimes. When are we going to realize our true nature, that we are nothing but Atma? For that, unless you have that Shabda Pramana, where the Shastra tells you, hey, listen, you are not the body, you are not the mind, you are not the senses, you are not the ego, you are not the memory. So when the Shastra tells you that, that is a vritti, isn't it? Whereas,
example given by many gyanis, like they give the example of that peeling of onion. Many of them give that how you take the layers out every time one new layer comes, remove it until unless you go deep inside, and that is that jnana which you have to achieve. So it was there, but it is only that you have to remove all the layers it already existed. So it is the removal of the ignorance, and the mind is just like a tool helping you to reach that state.
It cannot be objectified. Sarupa Chaitanyam na ajnana virodhi. Consciousness, which is the nature of Atma, is not opposed to ignorance. It is self-illuminating, isn't it? It is there. The only thing is, because of this Maya, we have this layer of avidya that has come up. If you remember that Hridaya Granthi that we learned later in some of the other slokas later in this chapter, where the Jiva and the Atma are covered by this avidya, and that forms this knot in the heart called Hridaya Granthi. Jiva is same as Atma, there is no doubt. But it is this avidya that has come up and it has covered this. And it is giving us the illusion that we are different. We are alpajnaha, we are not sarvajnaha. I am limited. I need to reach out to samsara to make, to feel fulfilled. I am not purna. So we are in that state of ajnana. That avidya is what is causing all of that. Whereas that Swarupa Chaitanya is not opposed to knowledge, is not opposed to ignorance. It is self-illuminating. So only thing we have to do is to remove that layer of ignorance. And how do we do that? The mind is also part of that avidya only. But then it is only through the mind that we can get there. Because even the mind is illumined by this consciousness itself. The mind has its existence because of the consciousness.
Yeah, dhanyavad, Brahmaraji.
Isn't it? I know it seems like a little confusing, but basically
But it got cleared very beautifully today. Like I always had this confusion here in this one, but it's been cleared today very nicely. It's good that we read it and discussed.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, explanation by everybody, Sumaji, Dr. Savitaji and Brahmaraji, so beautiful. It got wonderfully cleared. Dhanyavad.
But not yet cleared as to have
As to?
as to have that jnana yet. Because still stuck at the thought that the vritti, I think Tattvamasi, that vritti I have to keep, knowing that this vritti is because of that Atman only. But still I have not reached that, right? I have still not known, because I cannot know myself. Then where is the end for my search?
It is an endless pursuit. You keep on going, reading Shastra and doing that Karma Yoga part. You will reach.
This is where Shraddha is required.
Yeah.
That is why that Parashraddha is required.
And Guruji said that you will know it. And when you know it, you will not be able to tell anybody. When you have reached, you will know it. He said that somewhere in some conversation, satsang.
Yeah.
But
No.
at least whoever knows it, at least please tell me that you know it. I won't ask what it is.
For that also Gurudev said the one who knows it really, and who says he knows, really does not know.
Correct.
And one who really knows will not say. Gurudev has said that.
Someone asked him, are you enlightened? He says that this was exactly the reply he gave. So I think that is where we require Shraddha. Shraddha in the words of the Shastra. And like Dr. Savita said, we continue to live our life as karma yogis. We still have a lot of polishing to do. At least I have a lot of polishing to do. I don't think I'm still a complete karma yogi. Am I dedicating every action to Ishvara? Or am I doing it otherwise? Do I have that Ishwararpana Buddhi? Do I have the Prasada Buddhi? These are where we still have. I'm still work in progress. So the goal is there, but the means is also important. So the means is what we have very nicely laid out. Bhagwan has given us the means to be a true karma yogi, to be a bhakta. And understanding that Ishvara is dharma, living a dharmic life, pursuing this knowledge. That is what we have to do. We have lots to do, isn't it? Let's not worry about the goal. The goal will happen. We'll reach there, not to worry. For that, we have to have that ultimate Shraddha, unflinching faith. Because the moment the doubt crops up, oh, will I be able to gain? Am I capable? We learned those 4 types of doubts, 4 types of kripa. And therefore, the 4 types of grace, Ishvara kripa, or then Guru kripa, Shastra kripa, and Atma kripa. So, contrary, you can have doubts in all of them. So the doubt is what will take us away from reaching, whereas having that unflinching faith will let us have that the grace of all of this. All the 4 kinds of grace will manifest. And yeah. So we'll stop here today. Maybe tomorrow we
Tomorrow we'll complete this, I think.
Sorry.
I know you carry on, Pasiji. I was just saying that I'll complete this 3, 4 were together, no? So I'll just complete the 3, 4.
please complete that. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's 5 individual and then 6, 7 are again consecutive together. So whoever takes 6 or 7, take it together. In between there is 5. If somebody is taking 5, they can take, or otherwise I'll complete this also 5. Whatever you feel like.
Yeah. No, go ahead with 5 as well if you're able to. Then we have 15 shlokas left. So maybe people can commit themselves
6
to.
and 7 are together, you know. They
6
both
and 7.
are going together. So
Yeah.
it is a long one. So anyone can take this.
Fine.
Okay.
Persiji, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I wanted to add here that listening to all our discussions, I feel that we really don't even know what is our exact goal, at the end of the journey that we are talking about. And whilst I was going through the different realms, like I mentioned the other day, 14 realms, and there also there is, like, you can go to one realm and then depending on your karmas there, you'll go to another realm. It is not a higher realm in the sense of a geographical location. It's a realm of consciousness is what I read about all these different lokas. And I'll post these notes to you, Dr. Brahmra, and then probably if you want to put it in the group, you can, if it is advisable.
No, please go ahead and put it in the group, Persiji.
Okay. Because here, clearer understanding as to at the end of it, where do we want to reach? Because even if you are wanting to reach Svargaloka, then they are also tending to be demoted or promoted to a higher or a lower realm in our way of thinking. But there is no promotion or demotion. It is where these people want to be at a particular moment of time. Like the Saptarishi Loka, which is there, they are interested in administrating everything in Bhuloka, that is our earth. So they are at that level. Whereas the other rishis are in a different loka altogether, where they are doing intense tapas for 432 years, which is one day of Brahma. So they want to reach. And Brahma Loka, the highest loka in that beyond Swarga Loka. So all this is there. If you just, I've just made a very 3-4 line ka note on each loka, and then you will get some kind of clarity. We are very well off where we are on earth itself in Bhuloka. If we are doing our karmas properly, if we are doing it according to our dharma, then we need not be restless or feverish about realizing the Atma. When it has to happen, it has to happen. Be happy walking on the journey. You don't have to reach a destination of realization. Then you get moksha and then you'll be happy. Not like that. No restlessness, no feverishness is what I got. And one more thing, I was reading a book on Mula Bandha. It's a BR School of Yoga book where I did my course from. And there it was all our Mahabandhas, which we do in the advanced course. Only those people who have done advanced course would know what I'm talking about. Their Mool Bandha is given, the main Bandha, the first that we put on the Muladhara Chakra, how we pull the anus lock up. Then what is happening, how the Apana merges and moves higher to the prana level. When it reaches the prana level, the granthis that we are talking about, the chakras, which are called granthis, they open out and the snake like head will go through, pierce through, and all that we are talking about. That Kundalini Jagriti is also happening through the advanced course bandhas that we are doing. And we only need to do it more correctly, more consciously. If we are concentrating on applying the lock at the same time holding the breath in, we have taken the breath in and we are holding it in. So if we are doing it properly, even that is leading us to a higher level of a higher realm, as I may call it. So there is so much that Guruji has already given to us. We just need to do the sadhana the way he has told us to do it, and not be restless about anything. Like we'll just we are on the right path, and not even to have this, we are not sannyasis, we are grahast ashramis, and not to look upon that sannyasi also to be something, to be a higher position than us or better than us. Nothing of that sort. In fact, we are doing a fantastic job being a grahast ashram, performing our duties and yet being full of devotion and giving time to our sadhana and meditation. And even in this Gita, it is said that they are very close to me, those who are karma yogis and who are doing upasana on me. Jai Gurudev. Just wanted to share this, that even this Mahabandh, like I find so many people coming for follow-up, but they are not doing the bandhas properly, applying the locks properly, their hands where they should be joined, where they are joining. If we as teachers take these corrective actions, even they will progress more. Where the ring is worn, there that portion of the fist should be joined together. Some, little bit of intricate details, and where it will, how that Kundalini Jagriti will happen, and we will reach a higher realm. Like that is what is said even in Patanjali Yoga Sutras, that when the Apana and the Prana merge together, that is the Apana moves upwards rather than downwards. And then, it's like, you see this, it is mentioned somewhere that the yogi can, both his feet are off the ground. Somebody shared a photograph of Gurudev sometime back. Both his feet were off the ground somewhere in Canada or so. So these all things happen when we are doing this thing religiously, our practices, daily practices.
Yeah, sadhana is so important because as
It
Guruji
should not be
says,
done perfunctorily, like, okay, it is a ritual to be done. I am a good follower, so I am doing it. Not like that. I mean, put your full awareness into every part of the sadhana.
Actually, Percy Bhaiya has given the whole gist. If we understand it, it's a real, whatever we are doing up till now, everything is given on the platter by Gurudev. That's what Percy Bhaiya is sharing. Do it sincerely. Anyway, all these things are going to happen very beautifully for us. We are very fortunate. Thank you, Percy Bhaiya.
And when your prana is high, automatically doubts will fall off. The way to drop doubts is to increase your prana. And that's what Gurudev has been saying. If you're in high voltage, then you can influence everything. You will be in that state. He re-emphasizes the aspect of wisdom. It's not enough if you're just in a high voltage state, right? So being there, wisdom is what is liberating. So he is exactly saying, of course, he's saying what Bhagwan Krishna is saying. So thank you so much, Percy ji, for sharing that.
You're all welcome. I just do a lot of reading in the afternoons to reinforce whatever knowledge we have got here.
Yeah.
And just one more query, Pasiji. I mean, you were talking about these lokas. So, do we have to go through these lokas or levels of consciousness, or can we surpass and just?
See, that is exactly what I'm saying. Once you read through the notes that I have made, you will realize that you need to be nowhere. You are very much better off on earth right now the way you are. These are just realms of consciousness. They are not geographical locations of a position higher. Like we think Swargloka is somewhere in the sky. That is a notion given by Christianity that heaven is there above somewhere, high up in space, and you have to reach there. You make heaven on earth itself for everybody around you, for yourself. And it is said, whatever you give, you will receive thousandfold times the same thing back. And that is what it is. If you give love, compassion, and all that, you will get that. And that is what will make life heaven for you on earth itself. So it's like Japanese people do not litter. They are full of cleanliness. So as a location, Japan may be somewhere in according to latitude and longitude. That I may agree. But a Japanese person who comes to India will also not litter. He will not throw his coffee mug on the disposable cup on the ground. He will go and put it in the garbage bin. If you see foreigners when they come here, they will do it. They will look around for a garbage bin. They'll walk up to it and do it. Whereas we'll just throw a Bisleri bottle or a coffee mug, disposable cup wherever we are. We'll leave it on the ground. We will not walk up to a garbage bin. We are litter bugs in India. So it's the way we are made. It is our realm of consciousness as compared to the Japanese level of consciousness. And it is all interchangeable. A Japanese coming here will have his same level of consciousness even when he is here. So he need not be in Japan to have that realm of consciousness is what I'm saying. I'll post the notes. Y'all go through it and then like make what up. Then we'll see. We'll take queries. I also just read it because I found people to be very feverish and when are we going to locate our Atma? When are we going to touch base with it? When are we going to be in sync with our Atma? How long are we going to keep walking like this and be only in the Deha and not realize Atma? So are we not going to get enlightened and so on and so forth are the questions. And then going through this, I found that Swarg is different, Vaikuntha is different and all that. Vaikuntha does not even find a place in the 14 lokas. And it just doesn't matter. Even this Patal and Sutal and Talatal and all that is called in the lower realms, as you say, like there Shiva is residing in one group with all the bhutas, it is said. So how come Shiva is residing in a level which is below Patal also? I mean, it is not below at all. It is not in that term of geographical location, the promotion or demotion kind of thing. It is just a different realm of consciousness.
Ultimately, there is only one that encompasses everything.
In a nutshell, we have to do our karma according to our dharma, have lots of love and compassion for everybody, see the divine in each and every being, not be in judgment over anything. Wars will happen. Now another war has started. All this will keep going on. we keep doing our work. Whatever way we can reach out and do whatever little we can, we do that. We don't sit in judgment. Then we'll surpass all this and we'll be in a very happy state of mind. And that's the way to be. That is heaven on earth. Jai Gurudev.
Jai Gurudev.
Jai Gurudev, thank you.
Lot of discussion
Thank
today.
you
We
for
will stop here. And please put up your commitment for the remaining shlokas. So let's each one of us take 1 or 2 shlokas so that we can complete this. Sunday, we'll have Nana session. We'll have it at 8 o'clock Bahrain time, which is 10:30 India time. Is that fine? On
Yeah,
Sunday.
it would be fine. 10:30 it would be fine. Yeah.
Yeah, 10:30
Yeah.
India time. Thank you. Jai Gurudev. Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Jai Gurudev.
Jai Gurudev.